Welcome to this explainer. A very warm welcome to all the trainees joining us today for your 42-day Technical Teacher Certificate program. Over these next few weeks, you're embarking on a journey to transform yourselves from industry experts into true gurus of the classroom. And today, well, we're setting the stage for that exact transformation. We are going to take an age-old teaching tool and figure out how to completely master it to create a really attractive, effective, and creative classroom transaction. We're looking at the anatomy of a masterful lecture.
Okay, let's dive right into our source material for today. Now, at first glance, this might look like a whole bunch of distinct pieces of information, but it's actually a brilliantly structured guide to the traditional lecture method. In a technical classroom where you have these incredibly complex engineering concepts or deep software theories to explain, the lecture is basically your workhorse. But as you'll see, it's not just about standing there and talking. It's an art, and it's a science.
To model some good pedagogical practice right off the bat, here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover the anatomy of a lecture, its core characteristics, the merits versus the demerits, the active student role, rules for effective delivery, and finally, when to strategically use and avoid this method.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Anatomy of a Lecture, and understanding its foundation. By definition, the lecture method is a highly teacher-centric approach. Honestly, it's the most ancient, foundational teaching tool we have. Think about it. It's the systematic verbal sharing of your knowledge, your theoretical foundations, and, perhaps most importantly, your rich industry experience. As the teacher, you are the focal point. You're the one structuring the flow of information, making absolutely sure the concepts are delivered in a logical, step-by-step manner so your batch of students can actually absorb the wisdom you've built up over the years.
Moving right along to Section 2, Characteristics of the Method, and what makes it tick.
What's really fascinating here is how these characteristics are all about efficiency and scale. Yes, it's highly teacher-centric, but notice the massive advantage here. It is extremely time-saving. When you have a vast syllabus to complete in a really limited time frame, this method lets you deliver a high volume of focused subject matter super quickly. It's custom-built for large audiences. You can easily teach 50 or 100 technical trainees all at once. And it's absolutely ideal for laying down pure theoretical knowledge, the fundamental rules, the history, the core formulas, long before you ever step foot in a practical lab.
Which brings us to Section 3, Merits versus Demerits, the classic double-edged sword.
Because let's face it, every powerful tool comes with a warning label. On the merit side, we've got that incredible efficiency for large syllabus completion. It's fantastic for building theoretical foundations and sharing your deep experience. But the demerits are pretty dangerous. That sheer efficiency can very easily lead to the trap of one-way communication and totally passive learners. Plus, it severely lacks practical skill development. I mean, you can't teach someone to weld a joint or write a Python script just by lecturing at them. And human attention spans, they simply drop over time. We've all fought the urge to nap during a monotone 3-hour theory dump, right?
So this is the absolute critical point, the risk of the passive learner. If you're only relying on a one-way transmission of facts without any strategic engagement, your lecture is going to quickly churn a vibrant technical classroom into a room of totally disengaged spectators. And as technical teachers, that is the exact opposite of the transaction we want.
Let's flip the script in Section 4, the active student role. It really is a two-way street.
To combat that spectator risk, we have to realize that a classroom transaction is never just a monologue. Even in a teacher-centric lecture, success requires serious action from your audience. The student's journey means listening carefully, actively working to understand the main points, taking diligent notes, and crucially, asking doubts where necessary. Our job as future gurus isn't just to talk at them. Our job is to facilitate these exact steps. We have to create an environment where taking notes feels natural and where raising a hand to clear a doubt feels completely safe and encouraged.
So how do we actually do that? Section 5, Rules for Effective Delivery. This is your teacher's playbook.
If you want to master the classroom over your 42-day training, you need to internalize these rules. First, establish clear learning objectives right at the start. Tell them where we're going. Present your materials systematically. Break down that complex engineering into easily digestible steps. Use clear language and please, use vocal variety. Do not be monotone. Your voice is literally an instrument to convey your passion. Integrate real-world examples and visual aids to anchor those abstract theories. Keep your students active by pausing and just asking them questions. And finally, always highlight your key takeaways clearly. This dynamic, structured approach, that is what separates a mere speaker from a master educator.
Almost at the end now. Section 6, when to use and when to avoid. Strategic application.
Because knowing how to lecture perfectly is really only half the battle. Knowing precisely when to deploy it is the true mark of a professional. You should absolutely use a lecture when you're teaching foundational theories to a large batch, introducing brand new complex topics, or summarizing vast amounts of background info. But you must avoid it for hands-on, practical creative skills. If the students need to touch the machinery, if they need to write the code themselves, or if you're managing a class with vastly different individual learning speeds, a pure lecture is just going to fail you. You have to know when to switch gears to a different teaching method.
To bring it all together, our source material leaves us with this incredibly powerful guiding thought. A good lecture is clear, systematic, with examples, and interesting. It sounds simple, right? But achieving that balance is a lifelong pursuit. An efficient teacher explains things clearly so that the student can actually listen, understand, and then go out and apply that knowledge in the real world. Which leaves me with a question for all of you. As you continue your technical teachers training as future gurus, how will you transform your next 42 days of theory into an unforgettable active classroom transaction? Take these structured tools, apply them to your own subjects, and just watch your classrooms come alive. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I wish you the absolute best on your teaching journey.